appears to be that we could be 7:01, so let's start the meeting at 7:01. This meeting is being recorded for your information. So we try to refrain from talking about politics or religion during this town meeting. And we'll start off by look at the agenda, and the first order of business, review and approve the minutes from October 2nd, 2018.
Is there a copy of the minutes available?
I'll say.
This is it.
No, you got it. It's right
I
there.
have it.
Yeah.
I have it in my hand. With the motion, we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second order of business is a hearing, public hearing. So I'll read this. The Hubbardston Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, for a notice of intent filed by Edith Morgan for new house and septic at 20 West Comet Access Road, Hubbardston, Mass. So I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing for this.
I'll present a motion to open it.
Okay.
With this.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Now, Edith, if you would just explain what you're doing, and or your agent or whatever, and
I guess it's better at that.
I don't know better, but.
show the group what's happening over there.
So good evening, Larry Green, along with me, the E.S. Morgan. He stayed over here to present the notice of intent for construction of her single-family residence at 20 Comet Pond Road West. To give you a little background, kind of site's located kind of the tail end of Comet Pond Road West. It's kind of an undulating lot, kind of sloping high to low situated here. Kind of a false knoll right here, and then kind of a lawn area with 3 outbuildings situated against the pond's edge. Kind of a larger gravel parking lot situated here. What Mrs. Morgan's proposing to do is, as you stated, is construct a single-family residence, kind of situated in this kind of pinkish color. Associated with that is a construction of a sewage disposal system situated here. To minimize earth disturbance, Mrs. Morgan's proposing to construct the house kind of in the current lawn area to minimize tree clearing and earth disturbance. Also, to minimize earth disturbance, she's also proposing to construct the house on pillars instead of doing excavating to a poured foundation. Reference to, impacts to the resource area. Mrs. Morgan's also proposing to construct the leach field kind of as far away as possible up to the pond's edge, situated here. Again, I'm trying to be sensitive to the landscape, proposing a retaining wall that told that slope would minimize tree clearing and earth disturbance. We did receive DEP comments later this afternoon. We also did, unfortunately, we have not received a DEP file number at that time. I think you guys are aware of that. There were 3 comments. I think 2 of them actually are depicted on the plan, but we'll address it later on. One comment was she wanted us to depict the limits of the resource area, which is basically the pond's edge. There's no real BVW associated with the pond's edge. We also wanted to show the buffer zone. Depicted here, there is the 100-foot buffer situated here. And then another one of her comments was to the installation of erosion control. And so we kind of held off in showing erosion control, we wanted to work with the site contractor, kind of work with him through where his limit of work and his staging areas. Once he defined that, we'd work with him and then define our erosion control line. And then lastly, the site is within DCR jurisdiction. Mrs. Morgan had met extensively with DCR to discuss this project. They kind of have worked with Mrs. Morgan aiding in putting the house in currently disturbed areas, kind of the lawn and the gravel, instead of cutting down trees. And then DCR did issue a statement that this project is exempt from the Watershed Protection Act. That's my-
It is exempt, why?
Basically, in their letter, it stated that basically there's really no alternative and that Mrs. Morgan worked with them in minimizing tree clearing.
May I speak, Chair?
Please.
I'm Jennifer McGinnis, I'm from DCR. We issued a letter in 2015, I believe it was, or 16?
16.
16, thank you. Basically, the reason that it was an existing lot before the Watershed Protection Act was written, however, it has to be designed in a way to keep it out of the 200-foot primary zone, if possible, but I think 84%.
Well, I'm familiar with the code.
Yeah, I was just saying it for everyone else.
Oh, okay,
If that's okay with you.
All right.
Because I know someone's gonna circle back and
All
ask me. So basically, the septic system was 100 feet away from the drinking water resource. The house was in a previously disturbed area, along with most of the parking, and it was agreed upon that the wood line to the north wouldn't be disturbed. So, okay.
We made it very clear to work within the disturbed area, which is what I have been doing.
So this, the septic system, which is how far from the, it's 100+ feet, right?
Yeah, well, here's the pond edge, here's the 100-foot buffer, so that's gonna be another, 150 feet away from the pond's edge.
Approved septic design?
We have it in front of the Board of Health, we have not received approval yet, but it has been submitted. And again, to reduce size, Mrs. Morgan is going for a deed restriction, going for a 2-bedroom system.
That was also, sorry, that was part of DCR's requirement
Right.
based on the
Yeah.
size of the lot, that it couldn't be more than 2 bedroom.
Well, you have the plans, but it's, yeah. Right there.
Yes, ma'am. The existing camp, which is a few feet from the,
Water's edge.
basically you could fish off the front porch. That will be removed upon completion
Yes.
of the house.
Yes, I asked the DCR, I asked Mr. Peter Walker,
Jeff Lacy.
Jeff Lacy.
I'm the new Jeff
No, I
Lacy.
did- that's another commissioner. That's another. Well, anyhow, yeah, and he said that I could leave it there until I finished the cabin so that I would have a place to keep the stuff. the Life jackets and stuff.
Did you want to look at it?
No, I looked at, I actually went to the site and visited.
Okay.
This morning, and we looked at what was laid out and flagged and stuff.
And I think Tom was at the site also.
It's pretty much a big improvement over the existing structure out so really,
It's only 100 years old.
does the board have any questions or concerns about what you see?
I'm going to ask you, do you have any concerns outside of what?
So,
Wow.
this project was approved three years ago, or 2 years ago, by Jeff Lacy based on the Watershed Protection Act. So as far as the Watershed Protection Act, she's met our requirements, but however, you are under the Wetland Protection Act.
I understand.
So it would be your privy to any additional.
I just wanted to know where you stood, okay?
So do you have an idea where you want the limit of erosion control? Do you have an idea what the contractor will need? Obviously, we'd like to see it as tight
Right.
as possible.
I guess kind of basically one situated maybe here, and then maybe actually one, maybe defining one associated with the septic system, kind of give them two kind of break areas.
Am I allowed to ask a question?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, great.
Could you just state your name prior to
Yes,
speaking?
my name's Don Mitchell. I'm the neighbor. And I'm just, I'm concerned at all the water that's coming down that hill. There's an awful lot of water coming down that hill. It's a pretty wet spot. So the thing that I'm concerned with is if the water coming down the hill is pushed onto my property, do I have any recourse in any way? I mean, I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but, you know, I'm just trying to look out for my own rights. I have no problem with her improving her property, I think it's wonderful. I just don't wanna suffer as a result of it. Because they're all pretty small lots. And I have a secondary question too, are tight tanks allowed anymore? I heard, I don't know where, that tight tanks are no longer allowed for projects like these, is that correct or incorrect?
Tight tanks are not allowed for new construction.
New construction? So for example, I have an old shack like she does, if I ever wanted to improve my place and I couldn't do a septic, could I not do a tight tank then?
You could do a tight tank if a septic will not fit.
Perfect. Okay,
So if it doesn't pass perk, that would be the easiest to go to a tight tank.
okay,
But most people do not want tight tanks.
no, I understand, but I just didn't know if my lot was rendered unbuildable at this point because of that ruling. Okay.
No.
All right, perfect. So how do we address the water coming down the hill? I mean, it just,
Okay, what has just been explained, obviously the septic
Yeah.
is further up the hill.
Yep.
There will be erosion control around that, so that'll stop any of the siltation going down. From the way this has been explained, there's gonna be very little disturbance to any of the ground because it's gonna be on piers. So it's not like there's gonna be a full foundation dug, it'll only be however many piers.
There's 4 piers
Yeah. And are
Main
they gonna,
piers, but then there'll be other piers
for the porch, I mean, or something.
for the deck.
Yeah, okay.
so there'll be very little disturbance of the earth. So there'll be very little chance for anything to run off. And that's what we were asking about, you know, what they needed for room to work around.
okay,
Because once they have the piers in and everything's settled out, they're probably gonna put, I would guess, stone around the piers. So that's gonna protect anything from washing. And then everything else is existing grade, so they won't be doing any digging anymore.
So there's no major grade work anywhere.
Usually that's where you have anything that washes, when you're doing a lot of
Yeah,
excavating.
we're slightly flattening this
Yeah.
area a little bit here just for parking and kind of giving it on the area, which will aid in stormwater as well and directing water away from the gutter.
okay, so based on what you see, you don't see water washing over, okay.
We don't.
It looks like the grades are pretty well parallel to lake shore, pond
Yeah.
shore, so that the water will be any water, which Mother Nature's been very copious with the
Very
water
generous
this
this year,
last
yes.
few months.
Yeah.
It looks like it kind of will be running through the pond evenly across a span area. It doesn't look like there's too much of our focusing in that lot particularly, either from the topographical map.
My site engineer and the company, you know, they've been out there looking at it and they'll do everything they can to make sure there's no water going down to, you know, because that's one of my priorities, not to have silt going into the pond. Or on my neighbors.
Right, it'd be really good because that way they won't call us, call me.
Right. No, I don't want any phone calls.
Chairman, may I ask one question? Again, Jennifer McGinnis from DCR. I had a question about the septic system for the engineer. The layout of the septic is slightly different than what we had previously approved, which it doesn't look like it's outside of the general area or closer to the wetland. But we had proposed, or when she had filed with us, there was a proposed stone retaining wall around the septic in lieu of grading. Is that still
Yeah,
like
so-
that?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I just couldn't see the plan from here, so.
Yeah, I can show you.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to get out the big one?
No,
It's you say, it's there.
you can see,
It's there.
see right here, that's,
Oh, yeah, that's exactly,
Yep.
yeah, because we had approved back then, it was slightly different.
yeah, it's kind of
configuration.
spun it kind of more parallel to the contours.
That's fine, I just,
So that's gonna be a retaining wall all around?
Yeah, 3 sides, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Again, to minimize earth disturbance, minimize tree clearing.
It'll eliminate the water from going on top of that, saturating it, correct?
Saturating.
The field?
The leach field.
Oh, yes, that would be raised, yes. Yes.
Jameson?
Matt Stepanski.
Are there other public comments? Yes.
Rick Bullock, I'm a neighbor on the north side of Mrs. Morgan's property. I just would like to be on the record as having a concern about the fact that this whole project would not be allowed if it weren't grandfathered. It pushes every limit. The current Title V limit as well as DCR restrictions wouldn't allow anything within 200 feet of the shoreline. Everything here falls within that 200 feet. The entire septic system, pumping, storage, leach field, and if there's a failure, obviously the consequences, I think the most significant are those to the water quality, which all of us are concerned about. I don't know what oversight DCR has, but it appears they have the ultimate authority to give a green light to something that I would say is a very marginal undertaking. If anybody were, I guess you've been down to look at the site, but it's a wet hillside, and it doesn't take much to have a septic system that's not fully maintained, or even if it is properly maintained in a situation like that, to affect a neighbor or the quality of the water. As I say, today, you couldn't do it. And I'm not sure, Edie, what the lot situation is, but if that lot has been altered at all in size since 1992, I would question the applicability of this. That's all I have to say.
Did you say that the lot or altered in sight?
If the lot size, if the lot dimensions, if the lot itself has altered at all since 1992.
No, it hasn't.
All right, we've noted that comment.
Thank you.
Any other public comment or questions?
And move no other questions, I'll make a motion, we accept this plan.
All right, well,
With, reservations that.
first of all, I wanted to entertain a motion to close the hearing. Okay, and then we'll,
Do we have a DEP file number yet?
no, DEP file number is not.
Can you close it without the DEP file number? So we have to continue the hearing?
Yeah, I don't know, is that administrative thing or not? Doesn't
I
matter.
don't think you meant to close out the file, but just
No,
to
it's
close
meant
it
to
out
close
with
the hearing.
the rest of the meeting tonight.
The public hearing.
You wouldn't be able to, so if DEP came, if I may, Chair, I'm sorry.
Yes, please.
If you close the public hearing and DEP comes, I mean, they already issued comments to you that Mr. Green had stated, but the official letter hasn't come. Technically, you could close the hearing, you can't issue an order of conditions, but it's always advisable not to close the public hearing until you get DEP's final letter with their comments. Just because if there is something on there, you can't readdress it. And where DEP has already said they want to show the resource areas on the plan, you wouldn't be able to accept that plan once you close the public hearing.
That's it.
So it's always advisable not to, you can continue it to the next meeting, and then by then you should have an official letter. I believe they hadn't issued you a final letter yet because the check hasn't cleared.
Yeah, because the check hasn't.
Yeah, it just takes some time, so it goes to a lockbox in Boston, and somebody once a week goes and gets it, and, but my unbiased would be to hold on just in case something did appear on that comment letter.
Retract my motion too.
Okay,
We'll try it. Thank you.
all right, yeah, I don't know if it was just purely administrative or not, but that's,
It
makes
kind
sense.
of makes sense, because if something comes up, you can't readdress it later.
I see. Okay. So we will continue.
The next meeting while we wait for the DEP.
Yes. I think that's right.
Okay.
But we've had, at least had the public.
You could
address.
you could close it to discussion. You can close the meeting to discussion, but not close the public hearing.
I see.
And that way, when the letter comes, you can just open the meeting for
I
that.
make a motion, we close the meeting to discussion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
So make it clear to me then exactly, are we going to have a discussion again?
we're gonna read the comments that we get from DEP
Yeah. And,
and see at the next meeting. If nothing's changed, then at that time, we'll make another motion.
all right, so do I have to send out cards
No.
again?
No.
No.
Hopefully you're supposed to handle that.
Okay,
Sorry.
So we've had our public discussion,
all right.
the public meeting.
Well, that's what I
Here.
wasn't clear.
Kelly?
Yes.
And at the next meeting, if you
I
can,
was planning to go home first and change my
give us a little
stuff to another
outline
meeting.
on what they need.
I,
Yeah.
I got stuck in a meeting and then I was an hour late.
That's
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
So-
think I have a problem.
Just to finish this up, at the next meeting, we would close the hearing and issue a order of conditions.
Yeah.
So that'll happen in the next meeting, whenever, which will be December 4th.
Okay.
So that's set in stone, December 4th.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Because you were talking about another meeting on the, after Thanksgiving.
That's true. It sounded like we were trying to help Mr. Julian Patruber by speeding up the process, but I think he's, at the end, he said, we'll just do it on the 4th, which is the next scheduled meeting.
Okay, so that is, or he's left, I guess. All right, just to be clear. Okay.
All right, are there any other questions or concerns relegated to Miss Morgan's project? Okay,
Thank you, Ken.
thank you. We'll go on to some new business. Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rayo Bungara. Anybody?
I'm Steve Herzog. I'm not sure Rio can make it tonight. I'll speak with him
Can you
particularly.
just sign on paper?
Certainly.
What's your name again?
Stephen Herzog.
So,
Receipt will be up for you.
Thank you.
this is to review a solar energy project on Forest Drive
Yes. we
on
wanted to-
land owned by Dan McHugh, and the solar project owner is Sincarfa,
Yes.
Hubbardston LLC. So, you're on, go ahead.
Thanks.
What are we doing?
All right, so my name is Steve Herzog and I'm with AMEC and we're an engineering environmental firm. We work with Sincarfa, who are the solar developer. And Rayo, the person who first contacted you, also works with Sincarfa and is a go-between with the landowners to develop these projects. But Sincarfa is a solar developer and they've been in discussion with the landowner about putting solar on this project. And they asked me to come and take a look, come and meet with you, to ask a few questions. The first one of which is, we haven't done a solar project in Hubbardston before. I understand there has been some solar, I think it was Borrego. And I understand from my contact at Sincarfa that things didn't go very smoothly.
No, that's not true with Borrego. There was one incident, but
Okay.
overall, they were an excellent company.
All right, good, okay. So I mean, that was one thing, is to get an idea of what
We
you
agree
thought
with
of
that.
solar projects and if there were anything we could learn from that project going forward to help Sincarfa with this one. If all went well, then great.
With Borrego's project, all went well. We had another project where all did not go well.
Oh, another one, okay.
I mean, any problems that Borrego had, they self-ratted themselves out.
Right.
They corrected all their problems, and they were very easy to work with, so
Okay.
no problems with that. I can't even think of the name of the company that we had all those problems with. From taking trees out of other
Yeah,
people.
Connecticut.
What was it?
They're from Connecticut. I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
It's right next door to my solar project.
Oh.
I have a big solar project too.
Okay.
Yeah, they basically tried to cheat on every step of the way. Yeah.
I was a general contractor for years. It was the worst site that I had ever been on in my life.
Where was it at, can I ask?
Williamsville Road.
Of course, yeah, that's where we are.
Oh, okay.
And we're suffering, yeah.
Were you one of the abutters? You were one of the?
Yes, yep,
Once you live across the street from,
yeah, both,
directly
that went
across
on
from.
both sides of 95 Burnsville Road.
Is that the one where they took down the trees right in front, where they
Yes,
weren't
yeah.
supposed to take them down, and
Yeah.
they built the berm
Both
after?
sides.
Both sides?
Both, I don't know who did both sides, but both sides cut corners and did not do what they originally agreed to do.
We had them replace like 48 trees up there, and
Yeah.
those are all on their way to dying now
Yeah.
too, and, yeah.
It's a nightmare.
So if you find out who that project is,
Yes, just go down Williamsville Road, take a look at what a disaster it is.
but Barella's project,
Yeah.
they did two, didn't they? We did the one on Route 68, and then didn't they do the one in the sand pit? On the right-hand side going down.
I don't remember the names.
Yeah.
All right, anyway,
Okay,
go back to
I don't wanna
the,
start on a bad note,
Yeah.
maybe
No,
discuss all
no.
the bad negatives about a project.
Most of the solar projects have been pretty good,
Okay.
except for one that stands out in front of you.
On either side in front
On the
of
side.
us.
This one's over on Lombard Road, so in the eastern corner of town. And I'm a wetland ecologist, so I was on the crew who did the wetland delineation. So that's why the other reason before the commission is to inquire about your policies for reviewing projects with regard to wetlands. What I mean is there are 3 isolated wetlands on the property and 2 large, I guess they merged together, 1 large BVW. And it would make the project much more buildable if we could impact those isolated wetlands. I didn't know if there was a precedent in town for impact and replication of wetlands elsewhere, say adjacent to the BBW, and whether that's something we could entertain as part of the notice of intent process. Before we go through with the whole design, we wanted to discuss that with you.
There was another company out of New York, unless it's the same company, maybe back a year and a half ago. I went and looked at that, I'm thinking the same site on Lombard Road. And the name of that company ended up walking away from that because of, like I was saying, those isolated wetlands.
Okay.
I don't think we were about to change too much on it at the time. But
Okay. So I know that Hubbardston has a bylaw which takes jurisdiction over all wetlands. It's no impacts without a notice of intent or conditions. So it doesn't specifically say that there's a no disturb and there's no impacts allowed. So what we'd like to propose is to fill all or part of these 3 smaller isolated wetlands and replicate adjacent to the larger wetland system, to expand that wetland system at a ratio that the commission feels would be appropriate to account for those functions and values. 1.5 to 1, 2 to 1. I don't know what the total acreage is, but as I said, there are 3. I did bring some maps. So let me take a look. This is very generally, the wetlands are in green and their buffer zones are in orange. These were delineated this past August. So the area to the southern 2/3 of the property is what Sincarfa would like to develop for solar array. And obviously you can't make a decision by looking at a piece of paper. But I wanted to see if this was a possibility and whether you would like us to submit an RDA to review the wetland delineation, or we should go ahead with the notice of intent with that proposal.
are these wetlands staked now?
The 3 in the center are not state jurisdictional because there's no bordering and no surface connection to other wetlands or resource areas.
Have you guys taken a walk on the property and seen?
No.
I was there, like I say, a year and a half ago and looked at them, but all I could say at that point is yes, they were isolated wetlands and, you know. I did not know what they would do with them, but unless they could put the solar panels in where the wetlands are, they weren't interested in the property.
Yeah.
So they walked away.
There are existing dirt roads on the property. It looked to me, I hadn't done my historical research, it looked to me like it was probably slated for residential development a number of years ago, because there's a pattern of 3 roads that are pretty wide and level, and they're now overgrown, completely shaded with trees. I don't know what happened with that project, but there's good access in there. It's mostly level in the southern 2/3, I mean, relatively, southern 2/3 of the parcel.
Wasn't that like in the neighborhood of 100 acres or something? Up in there?
Close to that, yeah. And it's pretty isolated. I mean, Lombard River is not a busy road. And the land slopes up from the road dramatically right off the road and then levels out. There's a general slope to the west towards the stream system that flows to the southwest. But again, I didn't know if you would like to do a site visit or if you wanted to do it formally with submitting an RDA, or if you do an informal site visit and take a look, see what you think, and then we submit the notice of intent. So mainly I'm here to get a feeling for what the commission would like, how you prefer to see us proceed.
I don't know what to do with this.
Well, I personally would think that we'd want to take a site visit
Oh, absolutely, but I mean,
and then determine what we want to do from there.
But you wanna do it prior and then have them, give them a yay or nay, remember we had talked about that before, you know?
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Does that work for you?
Sure. Absolutely.
And then do another site visit after they've got it all flagged at some point.
It has been flagged, all wetlands have been delineated.
Okay.
So there's pink flagging that still should be there. We finished in early September.
no, this says 0 Forest Drive, and I can remember not being able to find anything that
Right.
said 0 Forest
I have it
Drive.
as 1, Tony.
The Forest Drive is on the north side. I'm not sure
No,
why.
I said I have it as 1 Forest Drive.
Oh, you have it as one.
I do in the file.
Right here it says 0 Forest
Yeah.
Drive, but I couldn't find anything that even said Forest Drive. Is there a sign that says Forest Drive?
I don't know. That's off of Bickford Pond Road.
Okay.
And
I can remember I did
Lombard
eventually
Road.
find the property, but only because the gentlemen that were looking at it
Yeah.
knew it and had looked it over.
There's a dirt road access from the southern corner on Lombard Road. Looked like there might have been some logging done years ago. It's a pretty obvious dirt road entrance on the south. So if you'd like, we could meet there. Want to take a look?
Whereabouts is that driveway? The next house down,
Yes,
Stoll's house or something?
it's pretty close to that house. I could see the
Close
house
to
from
this.
pulled in off the
I see.
road.
It's down here, off Lombard. So, I'd be happy to join you, Tony, if you wanna do that.
Oh, absolutely. Although, when I can do it is the problem. I wouldn't be able to do it until Friday afternoon at best.
That's
Does that work?
coming right down the track.
This Friday, the 16th, I cannot do. I maybe will have the other ecologist who was with me with the delineation.
How about the following Monday?
Following Monday I could do, yes.
The 19th,
The 19th, yes. That's the
I'll leave it to you to fill in an application and process a payment for that.
Monday we do a
Okay, send you-
morning visit,
Somebody in to do it if you'd like. I
10ish, 11ish.
don't know if you're
We'll see
able to
where
reach
it's
out
coming
for,
from.
you know, the site visit.
Yeah.
Somebody else
I
might.
think that's alright, Tony,
They
I'm not
can
sure.
come in and,
We got another one to talk about too, we could do a little.
All right, so there's an application for the site visit and a
Yes.
fee for the site visit?
Yes.
And what is the fee?
50.
What time is a reasonable time for you to be there on Monday morning? I don't know where you're coming from, so.
I actually live in Petersham, so I'm not coming.
Oh, okay, you're not coming far, so 10 o'clock, that work?
Yeah,
Okay. And where are we gonna meet?
Actually, I have just,
Well, I suppose we'll meet him right there.
I'm sorry, we got a new email thing is my appointments don't always show up in the same place. I have a meeting Monday at 10:30. So
Okay.
Monday afternoon would be better, or Tuesday morning.
Tuesday I can't do it.
Monday afternoon,
Monday afternoon,
Okay.
whatever you say.
3-ish, can't go too late,
Yeah.
it's getting dark on us.
Can we do it earlier? What's good for you?
2:30 would be fine.
What time?
Want to shoot for 2:30?
2:30.
We get decided or?
Yeah, we'll meet at the driveway on Lombard Road,
Okay.
if you like.
Can't borrow your pen.
Can I bring you the fee check then, or do you need it before that Monday?
If you, just mail it in.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What are you driving? We'll see you on the side of the road.
Silver Volkswagen Jetta.
All right, we can take it from there, I guess.
Okay. Thank you very much.
What's the date of the due?
19.
19.
Yeah, 19. I'll send it to you, Tony. I'll send you.
Thank you. I don't know where that pen came from.
Me, I gave it to you, because
Oh,
you,
you-
yeah.
You can keep it for the whole meeting.
Thank you.
I'll
I
leave
have
it
to
when
give
you
it back
go.
after.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, Steve, thanks. All right, the next item is 66 Williamsville Road, site visit. Tony, that's for Alan Oley for his septic system.
Okay.
We don't,
It's all flagged.
Had you made it?
I haven't
You
gone.
hasn't been done?
No.
All right, I'll. You have Alan's telephone number?
Mm-hmm.
If you'll give it to me, I'll.
Might even have it right here before you go, I can give it to you.
Oh, it's, okay, you got the paperwork on me.
I think so.
Make Alan a happy man.
Yes.
is this something he's trying to do this?
It's just a repair, right?
Yes, septic repair.
It's such a repair. It's,
I'll get it for you before we leave.
he's been in, I think, 3 times on it. We'll get it.
Okay, so Tony will go out. I'll get you the number, Tony.
Do we want to continue, or is there some other business the public has that they want to talk about?
I do, if I can, about our hearing
Yeah.
for Zoldan. Can we, first I'd like to start with asking, when we were in before, it was in October, we did a determination on the wetland delineation. You guys had the hearing on that and agreed with the plan, and you get a response of, it's a positive determination, and you need to do if you're gonna do anything. We agree with the wetland line as depicted on the plans. Did you guys ever get to that? Because the last meeting, the hearing was closed, so then.
We haven't had a meeting since then.
Right, so I was wondering if that would be something you might have today. That was on the actual determination. Request for determination of applicability. That was dated.
This is what I got today.
Because you guys took a site walk.
Right. And then we had the hearing,
Right,
and this was.
Yeah, and we
This
gave
is what I
it.
got today, Tony.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys are talking about the Williamsville Road one, right?
66 Williamsville Road.
Oh, no,
no, we're talking, no.
95.
we're talking about-
I'm sorry, 95.
So when I talked to you, the public meeting was supposed to be last week. When I talked to Kelly. So now it's this week, but it's not this week.
No, it's not this week.
No.
So when will it be? So we don't
It's the
have.
4th of December.
So what we have to do
That's-
is
that's-
an order of condition, that's not,
For
but
sure.
even this one, we haven't given an order of condition.
That's-
No, we're not there yet.
No.
We're in the process. But
Public hearing.
I wanna get all my ducks in line.
In a row.
Because we went through the process of
Because when I
doing
talked
this.
to you, was that 2 weeks ago?
What?
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was supposed to be last week was the
Mhm.
public hearing. And then
it got
you
changed.
said it got changed to this week. So there's still no.
So was
public
it
hearing.
published for last week?
No.
So it couldn't have been last week. Anyway, we would've came in and we would've had to, okay. So, before we get to that,
So we can go then. We're
That's right, we're not having a
gonna-
public hearing today on this. So that's why I figured I'd ask.
Yeah, no, when I talked to you a couple of weeks
Mhm.
ago, okay.
So
So now,
December 4th.
for sure. Oh, then we can get the neighbors
Oh,
together.
I mean, I can do it, you guys are the ones that
We've got
change the
time.
meetings around on.
If you change the meeting, how will we know?
You check the
Well,
website, or if you'd
Just
like to
keep
give me
checking
your
the
phone number,
website.
worst came down for nothing, I'd be happy to call you.
Yeah, I'll give them my phone.
next meeting,
It's December 4th for
Can you write it right
public
in
hearing
next
for
to
this
your
project.
name?
Yeah, sure.
I guess we don't have much of a chance.
And then, it'll give us.
Okay, but before we go, we got a date now.
I just, yeah, I'd like to know, this is my third time out here, second time out here, so just hopefully the December 4th is good.
But before we even get to that, I wanna get this part,
7, 8, 8, 9, 5,
because
yeah.
this has a lot to hinge on the next part.
Okay, you Jill.
Yeah,
So, at the last meeting, you guys, you did a site walk before that meeting.
Yes.
And we came back and we talked about this, and yeah, okay, we do agree with this wetland as depicted on this property.
that's correct.
So we should get, just for his file, so he knows what I've been telling him for the last 2 months, yeah, we're getting somewhere, that says, we agree with this plan, Hubbardston Conservation Commission. Is that something that could be done?
Well, I was told today from DEP that there was a list of,
No, we're not at that point yet. We're not even at that point yet. We're still wrapping up the determination.
okay,
That now defined this property and its boundary and its wetland delineation. That information, this information was sent to the DEP a month and 2 months ago, when you received it. So this the hearing was closed. You guys voted that, all in favor of this plan as shown. Then I submitted the site plans with the notice of intent. That's what the letter from the DEP is referring to. But I want to get this part, because that was a lot of work that I want to make sure we got credit for before we go to this step. Because some of the comments made on that DEP letter aren't correct. So I just want to get this squared away. You know, if you go back in your minutes, you guys will see where we left off.
Right, so
So
what do you need?
a decision on the request for determination of applicability on 95 Williamsville Road, that you agree with this. So it'd be a positive determination that, yeah, we saw the wetlands and we agree with them.
We said that we agreed with it. I questioned why a few of the panels were out of.
But that wasn't even this right. This is not even the panels yet. This
All
is-
right.
He just wants to know
So,
that
we agree with the line and what you saw in the field. I
Yes.
just wanna get that agreed on by the board. So now the next step is the public hearing for the notice, so we're not questioning wetland lines in areas. So, is that something that we can do tonight?
Well, yeah, I don't see.
Because that's another thing.
We already,
After the meeting, you got 21 days to issue that. It's been over 21 days, so we'd really like to see if we can get.
we already
In the
established,
minutes, it's there.
we established that we're in agreement with the wetlands delineation.
Understood. But I'm wondering if you ever give the actual, there's a form that says we, the board, and you all,
I will find out, and I will get it done, because they did
Sure.
approve it.
Yeah,
so,
yes, the
okay.
answer is yes, we can do that. I don't know what the exact form is.
Well, it's the second part to the request for determination of applicability. If somebody came in and said, we're putting a shed up, the wetlands are 85 feet away, but we're not doing anything, we're just replacing it, you would do, oh, you don't need to file a notice, we're giving you a negative determination, put up a hay bale, make sure nothing goes down towards that wetland, you can do it without a notice. This particular form was, before we get into a design, I want to do a site walk, like what this guy was just here asking about. This is the actual official follow-through, exactly what that man was asking this board to do. So I just want to finish one thing before I go to the next. But you're all in agreement that this plan is the delineation as agreed. Okay. So now, we don't have a hearing, so we can't technically talk about the next step legally, but because public record is that letter that you received from the DEP, I feel that I can give you some information also, which answers all the questions that they had set forth in that DEP letter to put into the file so that when we come
I
back
don't
in
have that
December.
letter yet.
What's that?
I don't have that letter yet.
You just,
No, that wasn't it.
oh, well, I have one, I can give you. That's the DEP file number with the comments that they had.
Guys, you gotta direct me here, I have no
You
clue.
you can't discuss the project until you advertise it open a public hearing.
Yeah.
Because nobody else is gonna be able to see what's happening from the public today, right now. You just
Yeah.
sent those people away
I'm
saying
not
we're not
discussing
gonna
the
discuss
project,
it.
I'm discussing formality. I'm gonna submit some more information for the project now to go add into for the December 4th meeting. So now I've addressed all the comments on the DEP's letter.
You can't discuss it to them, though.
I'm not discussing, I'm not saying what's in the letter, I'm just saying here's some information to put into your file for you to review
You
it.
can drop stuff off, absolutely.
You can drop it
So
off,
that's-
you can't discuss it.
I'm not looking to discuss, I didn't say I'm discussing, I'm saying I'm gonna drop it off. I'm giving the information.
I'm sorry, we understood that you were gonna, want to talk about it now, that's all.
No, I just want to
Yeah, absolutely.
put all this information.
Yeah, I have you.
Do you want the actual?
Nope, I'll wait till I get it from them.
Okay, that's fine. So I guess that's unfortunate that's, I know it's a volunteer board and things like this do happen, but on my client's behalf, who's been waiting patiently to get this done, and then have a board that meets once a month is kind of a big deal sometimes, so I try to be as thorough as I could to do the first step like this man did, and then go to the next step. So we're now on December 4th to discuss this project in full.
It'll be a public hearing.
Public hearing, 7 o'clock, will be first,
Yes.
7 PM. And thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony, there's Alan's number. And this is what we got today on Alan's. What I just captured, too many Williamsville Road stuff here.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Julie.
See ya.
I don't know, I'm tired of looking like an idiot.
You're doing great.
I don't know what I'm doing here, so.
What are you gonna do? It's understandable.
Are you guys done with your discussion? Should close the public hearing.
No, we still have
Oh, I'm
things
sorry.
to do.
You're
I
so
don't mind if
quiet.
it's on record that I don't know what I'm doing.
You can't know everything at once.
Run over time.
I'd be happy to come in this week if you,
That's the problem, is I don't even know what I don't know, that's,
I
I
can help
can't
you, I can help you
do
sort out.
stuff
I
right
can help you
if I
sort
don't even
out,
know that I'm doing it wrong.
well, no,
I have no idea it was 21 days
followed
on
him.
this, I don't even. And
I
I don't
haven't-
understand
I
why
haven't-
they're coming to the meeting prior to even like giving us any paperwork. It's like they're doing twice the stuff. Can I talk about it and then, can we talk about it? So
Can-
how am I supposed to know when
I
they're
just,
just
I
coming in
have
as
a
a
timeline.
casual thing like this gentleman did tonight to talk about it, and when it's, because I thought when he came that was a casual thing to talk about, and now he's saying that I screwed it up by not doing something in 21 days.
But,
Well, we didn't have the meeting, I think, is what it's really,
but
is
so,
that what he's
so
bitching
basically,
about?
once it's submitted and it's
Julian,
complete,
is that what he's bitching,
So
we
you-
didn't have the meeting, so So a month
I
is-
think that he submitted everything.
so once everything's submitted and it's complete, so he gave you a check, he doesn't have to give you the green card, he has to show you the abutters list, you have the USGF, you have the USGS wrap, so you have a complete package. You have 21 days to schedule that hearing, okay? And so if you guys put it in the newspaper, then you put it in and advertise it with your 10 days and all that stuff, and then you hold a public hearing. If you miss that 21 days, this is what I was trying to get to him at the beginning, he basically has an option. He could be and say, fine, I'll go to December 4th, and we realize there was a mistake. Or he can say, no, I'm not going to, I'm going straight to DEP. But I'll tell you right now, it's gonna take over 21 days for DEP to hear his case. So most people would be like, okay, we understand that I missed a deadline and, you know, we'll straighten it out. Then, so that's what he was trying to get at. And we can get you back on track for it. So once you guys close the public hearing, you have 21 days to issue an order. And once that order is issued, 21 days to actually sign the order. So everything's like this 21 days, 21 days, 21 days. So it sounds like what happened was he submitted a delineation for the same parcel under an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation, or something like that, one of those forms. He wanted you to respond with a formal response after you close that public hearing, yes, we agree with this delineation, or no, we don't. And that wasn't done. But again, it could have been that it was unclear, because at the same time, he's sending you paperwork in that says, this is the project I'm gonna do, and you're thinking you're gonna do it all at once. So I can see how it could get confusing, because it used to be there was two forms. We had an ANRAD, and we had an NOI, and now we have all these other forms. So I would be happy to stop in and help you with the paperwork and get that in order if you'd like.
Please.
Can you make it so we just have one form?
I cannot, because it's state law that they have all these different forms, but you cannot talk about a project. Like in my conservation commission, I won't even accept someone dropping off something during a meeting. They drop it off to the office, and the office gets it. You can't, because like those people left, you can't have a public, he
If I know what I
can't
was
show you
doing, then I could have a
everything.
procedure written up
He
that
can't,
says that, and then we would all know,
because if he
no,
talks
we're not gonna
about,
do
if
that.
he
but-
talks about what he wants to do, and the public wasn't notified, and then you base that decision on what he said, even though maybe you didn't say a word, they didn't get that information, the public did it. So that's why you have, you could just make a policy that basically says, you wanna drop something off during our meeting hours, you can't discuss it, you hand it to us in a sealed envelope, and we will get to it afterwards. But that would be my suggestion, just because it can get confusing, when did he drop it off, when is the public hearing starting, when is it not? And I don't mean by
Just
any
get
means
Allison.
to disrespect the chair or anything, I just, life
I haven't written it
experience,
down.
job experience, and just,
Right.
you just wanna be careful with that, because that's an appeal, like if he discussed something tonight, and they saw it on TV, they could easily appeal any decision you make, saying, well, you sent this away, so we're not gonna talk about it. So,
Yeah,
so,
makes sense.
But, so, moving on to this next one, just as,
yeah, sorry.
so we don't step on that or go down that same road. So what we're gonna do on this next one, Tony and Rick will go out, they'll walk and see if they agree with the wetland line, where the flags. Then they're gonna figure out how they want to send the paperwork in. And when they send the paperwork in, then there'll be a check. And that will be the time that we'll set up the public hearing. And I think that somehow got missed the last time.
Yeah, it probably is because he gave me everything with a check on everything, and I was
Yeah.
supposed to do it at different times, and I don't know this.
Yeah,
Because he came in with all that stuff when he only said that he was coming in just to discuss it before he did anything. That wasn't true. He discussed it and passed it in.
yeah. What he did is, he wanted to do the same thing. He wanted the board to agree with the line that you guys walked. We put it on paper.
Which we did agree with, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
we-
right in the minutes that we just looked at.
Yeah, we did agree with it.
Right.
Yeah.
But because I didn't send him something back and.
Yeah,
and,
it just didn't
I mean,
trigger
he
the,
was here, so I don't know, I thought
Yeah.
that was
Yeah,
it, but
no,
nobody
that's-
else has looked for anything.
no, it's just a. Unfortunately, like Jennifer mentioned, now with all the forms, it's just a little more,
I have cheat sheets,
Yeah, we're
you
gonna,
know, like,
Get
if this
some
is,
cheat
if
sheets
this
going.
comes in, then you need to do this. and
yes,
this
that's
is
what
that.
I need to know.
Yeah, me too.
that's
Yeah,
what
I'd be happy to,
Okay,
and of course you always have, DEP and Judy,
yeah, yeah,
but
which I
I'm,
also spoke with Judy today, she's kinda getting me some little assistance here too.
yeah, but I'm right down the road, so I'd be happy to stop by and help.
So
That's nice.
It's not on camera.
Where do you live?
I don't think it's in.
No, I mean, for DCI, West Oak Camp, Judy's all the way in Worcester.
Good.
Okay,
All right,
so
so
can we move on with all this stuff and
I think we're all set.
get to meet,
The next,
Tom's lovely daughter?
the next one is new member consideration.
Yes.
Kayla Dubois.
Yes, I didn't sign in on the signage.
Would you want me to do so?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have you met Mr.
No,
Kayla, nice to meet you.
nice to meet you.
Pam Kelly,
Nice to meet
nice
you.
to meet you.
And I think you know Rick Green.
I'm Jennifer from DCR. I'm
Nice
not
to
here
meet
all
you.
the time.
So what do we want to consider about Mr. Bois anyway?
Well, did you bring the?
Did we look at her
paperwork?
resume?
Did
She-
you bring the form?
Qualified?
No.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Tell us a
I
little
emailed
bit
it
about
to you.
yourself
You
and
can talk about it.
Sure.
what do you know about anything to do with conservation?
So, I work for an environmental engineering consulting company, Ty and Bond, in Worcester. Most of my work is sewer and water pipeline design, some sewer pump stations. I've done both design work in the office and construction observation in the field. So as part of my construction observation in the field, I've had to make sure that the contractors are following the
Would you
appropriate.
like to be on the Board of Health also?
It's gonna be the sharpest knife in the drawer.
I mean, really, you guys clearly don't need that. We do.
Anyways, you were saying as part of
Yeah,
your
so
construction observation, you had to do what? Drink coffee or?
I had to make sure that the contractors were not only following the design for our engineering, but also following order of conditions and making sure that all of their erosion control was in place. So I'm familiar, certainly not with the form and paperwork side of things, but with the general aspects of the industry.
Sounds like you got all the qualifications we need.
Okay,
Okay.
so what else do we want to say?
Someone want to make a motion?
Did I make a motion that we bring Mr. Bois into the fold?
I'd say yes, please.
You gonna second it? I probably shouldn't second it, should I?
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Yay. So now, does she need some paperwork too?
I believe may I speak?
Of course, thank you.
I tried to,
Being
I
her.
like to take over. I'm not sure what your form of government is, but usually the Board of Selectmen has to appoint.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
so at least on my commission, the Concom would draft a memo or a letter to the selectmen and request that we vote it.
yeah, but I don't know if she had to fill out like a form that says that she did, so,
Yeah.
so we're just okaying the fact that we're gonna accept your form and then we'll go
If
forward.
you give her the email, she'll email it to you.
Great, I will give you my email. It's health@hubbardstonma.us.
Okay.
Oops, sorry,
That's all right.
I'm on kind of on top of you because I know we have a lot of people.
Yeah, that's what I was told. The next step, she's filled that out,
And then we send it off
goes
with
to
a
us.
recommendation to the,
select board.
yeah, that, I know that. See that?
There you go. See, you got that down.
I got that down. Tony, please don't leave without me swearing you in.
I won't.
All right, well, that's great. Just for information, a public records request from Tom Robinson.
Yeah, just a,
For documentation on the Hillville, that little Hillville solar array and the Williamsville solar project that Julie was here on.
The solar array, is that the one that's just like an old foundation?
Yes.
Right across. So DCR made an advisory ruling on that one. I sent a copy here.
Yeah.
So, this is an FYI, because it saved me from doing a public information questioning.
This was just you had asked me to, or I decided to give you all a copy of that.
Oh, okay, this is, all right, so the public records request from Tom Robinson, it's just, you just telling us that it's happened.
Yep.
And he is entitled to anything. that we-
Right, yeah, no, just making you aware that I had gotten one for
I see.
the commission.
I see. So now we're talking about changes to Forest Cutting Practices Act.
Why don't we go back to commission business?
Okay.
Just a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
When I was on the Board of Health, and I believe the select board does this too. Prior to a meeting, we would get emailed the minutes of the past meeting
Yes.
and the
we're doing-
agenda.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep,
all right.
just
That'll
started
make it
doing,
That's
Yep.
A
it.
little
Okay.
easier, then
You can
everybody
stand
knows, and if we change a meeting
Yeah.
date, everybody,
All right, I have a question. When will those be out? Let's say Monday, you don't work Mondays, right?
yeah.
Oh, you
I
do
only-
work?
Yeah, I don't work Thursday or Friday.
All right, so what I'm thinking is that end of day Monday, so we would have all day on Tuesday to review
Mhm.
that meeting and know that it's.
I would actually probably give it to you when I have to post the next minutes, which is the.
Or if you have it,
Oh,
well, then that's fine, but Wait,
Yes.
but you can't tell me for sure that there's gonna be a meeting that night. This is what I'm driving at. You're also gonna send an email that says you have a meeting that night. Is that what did I hear you
So-
say that?
yeah, so when she sends out, she'll send out the agenda will have a date on when the meeting is.
Yes, and I have to have the agenda posted 48 hours prior to our meeting.
All right,
So
so you'll,
I will have everything at that point, so that's probably when I will send out the minutes.
Okay.
so that'll be like,
And the new
Just-
agenda.
Just so
And
it
the meeting
isn't
date.
at 3 o'clock
Oh, no,
on
absolutely
Tuesday
not.
afternoon,
No.
because that had been a habit in the past. Well, not from you,
No, I know, oh, I know.
but, you know, I wasn't checking my email at 3 when I was going to a
exactly,
meeting
yeah,
at 7,
yeah.
probably.
Right.
okay, so it'll probably be, because your last day is Wednesday?
Yeah,
So Wednesday before the meeting, we'll get
right, that's what I
an
usually
email
do.
with the agenda and the past minutes.
And that will be a reminder that when the meeting is and all that.
Excellent.
Great.
Okay, go ahead, Rick. Changes on the forest.
One minor point on the agenda, there was in a DOC format, like a Microsoft Word, and I couldn't copy it, so maybe it'd be better if it was a PDF or something.
Okay, make them PDF so
Yeah.
that everyone can get them?
I couldn't make a copy, because
Okay.
it was in protected mode. So that was a minor point. Now, so we have this forestry, I haven't read it, so
Well, you only asked me to have it so that you could just give it to everyone so everyone knew it.
good, because we don't
We don't have to
We
discuss it
haven't
today, I
read
just
it.
wanna make sure everyone had a copy of
doing
it.
much except for accepting the fact that the state forester and its written licensed foresters are involved. Seem to be very concerned about the wetlands crossings, etc. We'll read that.
So
Any
that's
other-
our homework.
Would you like it to be put on the next agenda to discuss? Just in case we want to, or no?
Sure, we can just bring that up as an old business type of thing. Any other new business or old business from the commission? So Tony, you gonna go see Alan by yourself only?
Yeah, I'll go up there.
Okay, for that. And we can go together to see the other site?
Yeah,
That's fine,
absolutely.
all right. Any other old business, new business? All right. Is there a motion to?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? 8 o'clock.